I was actually raised down in Willimantic part of Chicopee, and we moved up to James Street. So my first duty station at Hangar 9 was exactly 2 miles from my front door on James Street. So I've been born and raised in Chicopee. My father was in the Army. My sister actually went active duty Air Force. My grandfather was in the Navy. So when the time came that I hit that 30, and it was a scary time, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I have to start adulting. And I saw this pamphlet for the Air Force Reserve when I went to get some Chinese food one night, and I called them up and I said, am I too old? And they said, no, not yet. I was a late bloomer. I was probably approximately 8 years older than everybody else in my flight at basic training. I was 31 when I went to basic training. My MTI actually was a little bit jealous of my PT scores. She said, Mekal, how are you the same age as I am, and you had a better PT score? And that was fun, because then she outed me to the whole flight, because they hadn't, to that point, known how old I was. I actually started in Hangar 9 and AMXS, aircraft maintenance. I started off doing my on-the-job training. I finished my seasoning training, that they call it, in 2011. At that time, we were flying an awful lot, and there was a very solid mission essential ground personnel, or a MEGAP program. So I signed on for some orders, and I did a flying crew chief job. And that's when people that were impressed with my work, and they said, you should try out to get an ART job. And up until then, I didn't really know what the ART program was, and that's Air Reserve Technician. And so I became an Air Reserve Technician in 2012 in the sortie support shop over in Hangar 9 and AMXS. I loved it. Support shop was awesome. I did a lot of the Dash 21 inspections, the emergency equipment. We did liquids. We did a lot over there, a lot more than people think. It's not just CTK, Consolidated Toolkit. But that's where I kind of started my ART career. And then the opportunity came where I could come over to Aero Repair Shop, and that's AR Shop, and that's where we are right now, in the pull-through hangar, or the wash rack. And that's MXS, or back shop, a little bit back shop. We're back shop because we do the tires, but we also work on the flight line, on all the flight controls and the landing gear. And having all those different aspects of where you are in the aircraft, what's wrong, what systems, having a little bit of, because that's what a crew chief is kind of a jack or Jill of all trades. A little bit of everything, know enough it's broke, and then when something gets really broke, or it's something that's very serious or specialized, we call a specialist out. I was actually a kindergarten teacher. I worked in the education field. I taught. I was the director of a child care center for a few years. I did that. I worked in retail. I did all kinds of jobs, and that's kind of what led me to it. Was I was doing several jobs, trying to make ends meet. I was again turning 30, and I was trying to be an adult, and I just wanted something different, something that that I could really sink my teeth into, feel good about myself, and learn something new. And the opportunity arose, and I decided, why not? There was always this kind of drive to be in the military. Early on, I thought I was going to be in the Army. I grew up doing push-ups, with my dad, sitting on his back while he was doing push-ups. And I always thought it would be Army, but having the base so close to home, and my sister had joined active duty, and she seemed to really enjoy it. Throughout your military career, a lot of times they say to you, you're one part of this big mission, and you're important, or you're a big part of this, and everybody's job is important to the big mission that we have. And I never really kind of got that or understood that fully, like 100%, until this particular incident. And this was probably my 8th or 9th mission, and that's when I was being a MEGAP. I was flying crew chief, and I was out in the system, and we're flying, doing our mission, and we had gone from one European country to another, and I was handing the forms to our aircraft commander, who was a colonel at the time, and I was a senior airman, and I just signed off the forms. I'm handing the forms for the airplane, and I'm telling this colonel, as a senior airman, as an E4, I am handing the forms to this colonel and telling him, your aircraft is airworthy. And I'm telling him this, and he's trusting that I did my job well, and that we're going to get where we need to go. And obviously we did, and with no issues. But that's when it kind of hit me, like, wow, here I am, a senior airman, and I made a difference. And that was a powerful moment for me, just remembering and realizing that, yes, we are all doing our job, and that leads to that mission. We're the premier reserve base in this country for a reason. Westover is a family, and no matter you come from Chicopee, like I do, or you're from somewhere else, we are all a part of this, and we all do a mission, and we all work together. And this is a really great community, and being part of this family it's changed my life, and I'm sure it's changed a lot of people out there, whether they do 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year, or they're here Monday through Friday as an art or an AGR. We are all part of this big mission.